Hi everyone, today we are going to be testing out a few little purchases that I've made over the last couple of weeks. Some of these I've had on my skin numerous times before. I've worn them on my channel but never actually spoken about them or reviewed them. And others, it's my first time trying these and I am on the edge of my seat in anticipation. I cannot wait. So let's get straight on with it. If you're new here, hi, my name's Gemma. I upload new videos on YouTube every single week and I would absolutely love it if you would come and join the Pampered Wolf Pack by clicking that like button, the subscribe button, and also the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. So you're going to have to excuse my eyebrows today. I am growing them out in order to have a brow lamination next week. I am handing over the brow baton to the brow therapist and hoping that she can get me to the finish line without making me look absolutely ridiculous. Anything is better than this at the minute. I feel like I need to lift this one up a little bit and pull this one out. Just need to stand like this forever or invest in some tape. That might be a good idea. Anyway, I've used the Westbourne Co soap brows, which is the only thing that will hold these bad boys in place at the moment. Super strong hold. And also the NYX Lift and Snatch in the shade Ash Brown. I'm also rethinking the shade that my brows need to be. Now I'm going a little lighter in my hair. Any suggestions? Let me know in the comments section. So I just applied a little bit of my P. Louise base in the shade 2.5 all over my lid because we are going straight in with the brand new Too Faced Born This Way Sunset Stripped palette, which is incredibly difficult to get in focus because of the shiny finish. I'm not feeling the packaging. I'm not going to go heavily into the packaging because, you know, it's very similar to the other Too Faced Born This Way, the Natural Nudes palette that I have. You know, it's cardboard, it works, it has a nice mirror in there. It's perfectly usable. But yeah, it's not my favorite, shall we say. Now, for those of you that are wanting to know the difference between the two palettes, if you already have this palette, which is one of my staple makeup items, here are them side by side. So on the top, you have the Natural Nudes palette, and on the bottom, you have the Sunset Stripped palette. The top palette, the Natural Nudes palette, is slightly cooler toned than the lower palette, which has more warm toned shades in there, but both palettes are extremely wearable and have very similar formula shadows in there. So if you love the Natural Nudes, you will probably love the Sunset Stripped. I'm really glad that I have both of these. I wasn't gonna buy the Sunset Stripped, but a few of you wanted me to review it, so I bought it. Thank you. I'm really glad I did. So just like the Natural Nudes palette, the Sunset Strip palette has 8 matte shades, and those 8 matte shades, because they obviously know you're going to use those matte shades a lot more for crease work, you can put them all over the lid. They've got bigger pans of the mattes, which I love. These mattes are creamy and smooth. They glide onto the lid really beautifully and they're effortless to blend out. Love them, absolutely love them. There is enough pigment in there. You can build them up if you require that really punchy pigment look, or you can have them quite subtle on the lid as well, which also I really like. Then there's 8 shimmering metallics. 3 of those shimmers are slightly drier and flakier in formula, and you do have to be slightly more careful with those shades. Those shades are Shall We Dance, Shell Yeah, and Sandy Cheeks. These you will get a lot of fallout if you overload your brush or your finger with the product. So just go in and layer those shades up. They are stunning though on the lid. The other 5 metallic shimmers are creamier and more buttery in texture, much more high in pigment, less on the glittery end and more on the metallic. Love every single shade, and yeah, it's just a really beautiful palette. So I'm gonna go into Butter Pecan, or Butter Pecan, however you want to pronounce it, and just go straight in that crease and just blend that outwards. I'm gonna build that up slightly on that outer corner and then just swoop that into the inner corner. I'm just gonna take a little bit more of that shade and just swipe that up to the temples. I haven't got foundation on yet, so all this is going to be cleared up a little bit later on, but it just will add to that lifted effect. And it is such a subtle shade, you can easily get away with that. Then I'm going to take a little bit of Sun Chaser and just pop it on that outer corner and just in the outer crease, and then just blend. I absolutely love this. Just so pretty. That little bit of definition in that outer corner makes all the difference. And I could quite happily leave the eyeshadow here and move on to the next step, but you know, I'm not gonna. I'm just not gonna. It's not happening, not today. So I'm gonna do a combination of Sandy Cheeks and Shell Yeah. I'm gonna take my finger because I feel like this is the best way of applying these more flaky shadows. And I'm gonna apply that all over where there is no shadow already and just build that up as required. And then just over the top of that, but just in the center, I'm gonna take a little bit of Shell Yeah, which is a really beautiful shade. It's like a champagne gold, but there is a hint of pink in there as well. I'm just applying that to the center. So I think I'm gonna add a bit of this maroon type shade just on that outer corner, a little bit further in than we place the shade Sun Chaser. Just a tiny bit, just to give it a little bit of extra warmth. Wow, really brings in those sunset vibes, this shade. I love it. And then turn my flat brush around and just pat to blend. And finally, I'm going to take my Refa 29 brush. Now, this brush to me is a genius brush. It's really heavily compacted with a very fine tip on the end, which is perfection for stamping on powder eyeliner. If you really struggle with eyeliner, if you've got a shaky hand, which I tend to have quite a shaky hand as well, this brush will change your life because it just means that you can use your eyeshadows as liner and not have to swipe, not have to have that heavily blended eyeliner look. You can have quite a crisp eyeliner just with your eyeshadow. I just love this brush. I've used Refa brushes all the way through this eye look and I wouldn't be without them. I think they're excellent quality, but if you're on a budget, you can probably get similar brushes for a fraction of the cost and be able to create this eye look no problems. I've not found anything that is more affordable that looks like this. If you have any recommendations, if you have found this brush for a fraction of the cost, do let me know and I will let everybody else know because I just think it's genius, absolutely genius. I do know Wayne Goss does something similar, but yeah, it won't be cheap. So I'm going to take a black sand and just pat the end of my brush in the shadow and then just stamp it on. That's all I'm doing, just stamp, stamp, stamp. You can even hit the lashes if you want to, and it will still be a beautiful crisp line. The shape of the brush also makes it really easy to draw a wing. So if you do want a little wing, you can just stamp it on. And I go from my lower lash line and follow the same line as my lower lash line and just follow that up. And then I'll take my finger and just pat that in to soften it out. Look at that. Look just how beautiful that is. I am loving this sort of lifted liner look. And this is the best way of doing a liner if you really struggle with a liquid liner because you have a lot of eyelid creases or wrinkles around that area. Even if you struggle with a kohl eyeliner, a pencil, because it drags the skin on your eyelid, especially if you have a little bit of excessive skin on your eyelid. You don't want to be dragging it, you don't want to be damaging the skin in any way, and with a powder you don't have to do that. It also doesn't emphasize those creases and wrinkles because it will sit in them as well as around them rather than just sitting on top of them, so every time you smile it sort of cracks and you can see every single little line individually, which just nobody wants. So yeah, I just love the softer effect that a powder gives. And have I done this enough today? Just calm down, Gemma. Today is not the day. So I'm just using a little bit of the NARS Creamy Colour Corrector just over the darker portions of my under eye circles just to cancel that out a little bit and make everything seem a bit more even rather than just one section of my under eye jutting out at you and saying, hey, look at me, don't I look tired? That sort of thing. And then I'm going to use another new purchase. This is from YSL and it's the new Skin Tint. And you will know, if you've followed me for quite some time, you will know that one of my favorite tinted moisturizers of all time is the YSL Touche Éclat All-in-One Glow. I love this. This is one of the first products that I reviewed on my channel. I think it was the first product I ever reviewed with my mum. Glorious on more mature skin, beautiful, hydrating, but it has the coverage if coverage is required, which is why I really liked it. Also, for a tinted moisturizer, I found it slightly airbrushed my skin and also my mum's pores. Not that she needs that right now, but it was just an all-rounder, really hydrating and really lightweight on the skin. Yes, it has a fragrance, as all YSL products do, but loved it, loved it, loved it anyway. They've discontinued it. Of course they have. Why would they do that? I do not know. But they've brought out the YSL new Skin Tint. Now, it's similar, but it's definitely different. We're going to try it out today. I've had this on my skin a lot over the last, 2 weeks. Maybe 3. My mum has also tried this and we will update you in a future video. Just saying. So is it a tinted moisturizer, a skin tint or a foundation? Well, quite frankly, it's all of the above. It can do any of those things. It has 20 flexible shades. I've picked up the shade 6, which is slightly too deep for me, but it does blend in with my natural skin tone so I can get away with it and it will be great for those summer months. It gives light to medium coverage and a fresh dewy glow, which gets dewier the more you build this up. So if you do want a medium coverage, just know it is going to be a lot dewier on your skin. This is a 90% skincare based formula, so it's a bit of a hybrid. For a tinted moisturizer, I think this is incredibly long wearing. It does say it lasts up to 12 hours. I've definitely had it last that long on me as well, but I have had to powder this down. So word of warning there, if you don't like using powder and you want something long wearing, this probably isn't going to be for you. This is great on my dry skin, but I can't see this wearing well on super oily skin. You can apply this with your fingers, a sponge or a brush, and as far as wear goes, I didn't notice any visible creasing or caking, but I did know that it does get dewier throughout the day. This is very lightweight. It's a gel-like consistency, but it does contain a fragrance and it also contains alcohol in the mix as well. So if you do not want alcohol within any of your formulas, this is one to steer clear of. So this applies beautifully. It does sink into the skin. There isn't much tackiness on the surface of the skin, which when I first applied it really shocked me, considering this is a skin tint. I was expecting it to be really quite sticky because of its dewy finish, and actually you don't get that. Obviously, if you are going to build it up, you're going to get more of that, but there is only a slight bit of tackiness and that does dry down. So I like brush application. I think you get a beautiful, beautiful finish. I prefer to stamp it on rather than swipe because it means you don't get those brush strokes within the formula, and it just is a really lovely, flawless finish, even though you can still see skin poking through. Love it. Absolutely love it. Now, with regards to the fragrance, I don't think it's too heavily scented. Somebody may disagree with me, but there's a fly. Go away. What are you doing in here? You weren't invited. We have a gate crasher in the building. How rude. Anyway, where was I? I have no idea. The fragrance. It's not too heavy, I don't think anyway. I think it's really quite a subtle fragrance and it's on my skin and I can no longer smell it. So I'm not quite sure if that makes a difference to you, but if you really don't like fragrance in any of your products, again, you know, it's not going to be for you. Is this fly still around? Just going to pop a little bit of concealer underneath my eyes just to finish everything off. This is the Lancome All Over Concealer in the shade 110 or Ivory Sea, I think it is, in the US. And now my neighbour's dog is barking. Perfect. So I'm just going to line that inner waterline with a bit of the Makeup by Mario brightening pencil just to open the eye area up a little bit. This is the best brightening pencil that I've tried so far. However, I am really eager to get my hands on the Victoria Beckham brightening pencil because I've heard that is amazing as well. So hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on that soon. Okay, let's finish off this eye look. I'm going to take some of Shell Yeah on my Refa 03 brush and pop that right in the center. Now again, you have to be really careful with this shade because it's one of the drier, flakier shades. But I'm willing to take the risk because it is such a beautiful shade. And then once that's in place, I'm going to take a bit of Butter Pecan and pop that to that inner corner. And then a little bit of Sun Chaser and blend the two together. Then I'm going to take my Refa 29 brush again into the shade Black Sand and just connect the dots. And then again in Sun Chaser and just blend that out. Let's bronze this look up a little bit. I know it's only a tinted moisturizer and you can still see skin poking through, but I always think it's a good idea to add a bit of dimension back into the skin, even though we've not lost as much as we would have if we'd have used a full coverage foundation. I'm going to be using a cream bronzer today. This is the brand new one from Charlotte Tilbury that I've talked about a lot. I love it. The full name of the product is Beautiful Skin Sunkissed Glow Bronzer, and the only one that I have to play with today is number 1, Fair, because my mum has number 2, Medium, that she's playing around with at home as we speak. So I was asked the other day by a beautiful subscriber to provide a comparison between the shade Fair in the cream bronzer and the light to medium in the Film Star Bronze and Glow, which is my favourite bronzer that Charlotte Tilbury does. I'm not keen on the airbrush flawless bronzers because I just find them a little bit too yellow for my liking. These ones, much cooler toned, absolutely beautiful. So here they are for you. The Film Star Bronze and Glow in the shade light to medium is on the top, and the cream bronzer in the shade 1 Fair is on the bottom. The cream bronzer, although it does have some cool undertones, I would say is more neutral, but the Film Star Bronze and Glow is definitely cool toned. So I'm just going to add a little bit around the perimeter of my forehead and then underneath my cheekbones, and then blend it out with my BK Beauty 101 brush, which I think is perfect for blending out contour because you can just stamp it on. It's beautiful, it's really nice and angled and gives a really soft blend. Now you all know I love a beautiful blush. I just think it brings everything together and really finishes a look off. And although this look is not finished by far, I wanted to have a play around with these because they are brand new and just landed in the UK from Laura Mercier. These are the Tinted Moisturizer blushes. I've bought these in 2 different shades with 2 different finishes. So the shade Mistral is a warm rose and has a shimmer finish, and the shade Southbound is a peachy pink with more of a dewy finish. So let's have a little play around with these. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. Let's have a go with Southbound, which isn't the shimmery finish, first because it's the lighter of the 2 shades, and then we can always go in and add a little bit of shimmer at the end. So I'm going to take a little bit on the back of my hand and just take a blush brush and pop a little bit on the brush and pat that on. That is lovely. Okay, these are available in 14 different shades and I am so pleased I bought this one. Which one's this one? Southbound. This one is Southbound and I am living for it. These are supposed to give a subtle, barely flushed type look, and because of the formula, it's a bit of a hybrid formula. There's lots of skincare benefits in here. It's a little bit like no makeup meets skincare. So I really like it and I think it blends beautifully into the YSL New Skin Tint. So nice. Should I mess it up with the shade Mistral? You know I'm going to. Okay, so just pop a little bit of that on the back of my hand. Now this is the deeper shade, so maybe I should have gone in with this first and then lightened it off with Southbound, but we'll see how shimmery this is just for comparison. Just go on the tops of the cheekbones. I'm just going to keep it on that outer portion. Okay, so the shade of this reminds me of Desert Orchid from Pat McGrath, which is obviously not a liquid blush. It's a powder blush, but this is giving me very much Desert Orchid vibes. Slightly more subtle than I was expecting, but it's not like they've missold this. They did say it was going to be subtle, but I do love the effect, and it is not overly glittery. This has more of a sheen rather than particles of glitter on the surface of the skin, which I would not have liked. I've got a feeling these are going to be my summer go-to. However, when I swatched these on the back of my hand earlier on, when I went to remove them, they removed effortlessly. So it may be a case of these don't wear well through the day. I will update you in a pinned comment in the comment section just to let you know how these wore. I'm just going to use a little bit of my Sheer Flattery Loose powder from Estee Lauder. Just pop that on a powder puff. Really get that in and just press this in where I'm a little shinier, where I want to set this in place. I've been loving using this powder recently because I've been wearing a lot more tinted moisturizers that are much more lightweight, that you can see skin poking through. And when you want something that just dims down the shine of a tinted moisturizer, adds a tiny little bit more coverage, and I am meaning a wee bit of coverage, but doesn't make it look heavy or cakey throughout the day, this is the powder that I've been reaching for. I just think it is just utter perfection. It just smooths everything out. It hides all my pores, especially on my cheeks. I've only done the center portion of my face because everywhere else I am happy to glow. Now, I have not tried this next product yet and I am so excited. This arrived on my doorstep about an hour and a half ago. I ordered it yesterday and paid for express shipping. I am not quite sure how I've managed to contain myself throughout this entire video, knowing that this moment was going to come. I really hope it doesn't let me down. Please don't let me down. Please don't let me down. This is the brand new mascara from Lancome. It's the Hypnose 8. This is a balm mascara. This is a serum mascara. It's got strengthening amino acids within the formula as well as shea butter to nourish and hydrate. I need to get some on. This is a full-on glass tube, so be careful not to drop this. It is 100% recyclable, but it's heavy. You can definitely feel the difference to every other mascara that I've tried. This is, you know, it's a bulky, weighty product. And actually, now the wand's out, it actually looks quite a dry, thick formula as well. The wand is shaped into a number 8. It's very subtle, but the curvature is there. Let's see how this applies. In all the excitement, I've forgotten to curl my lashes, but you know, we'll go with it. I'll curl the other one. I'll curl the left lash. Going on nicely. I can't say that there's a ton of volume immediately. This is supposed to be a volumizing yet nourishing mascara. We'll give it time. So the formula is definitely loosening off a little bit as I apply it to my lashes and as it warms to the air temperature around me. But it is quite watery formula, even though it doesn't look it on the brush. It looks really thick and creamy, and yet it's going on quite thin. Let me curl the other lash and have another go. Now, it's obviously common knowledge that when you first open a mascara, when it's brand new, the formula is slightly thinner and it will thicken over time. Usually by day 3 or 5, you've got the thickness that it's going to stay at. So I'm going to withhold judgment until day 3 or 5, and I will update you in a pinned comment. But at the moment, it's not really doing anything for my lashes. It's coating them really nicely, but this is supposed to give mega volume. Maybe it gives mega volume on the second coat, I don't know. This is just the first. Let's have a look at the second coat. Okay, so that's a little bit more like it. On the second coat, everything starts to come together and really build. It obviously needs that first coat as more of a primer, and then it seriously builds on that second coat. So my lashes look much thicker, much more voluminous, much longer, luscious, black lashes. Look at that. I really like that. So I don't usually apply a lot of mascara, sometimes no mascara at all to my lower lashes, but I thought I'd give it a go today just to test out how it applied, and it was beautiful, really smooth, very easy, didn't get any on my skin, which can often happen with a larger wand. This is, I would say, a medium wand. It's not the biggest wand I've ever seen, but it's definitely not the thinnest wand I've ever seen either. Very, very easy to apply both top and lower lashes. So yeah, I really like it so far. It is a very wet consistency. So considering I thought this was going to be really quite thick and heavy, that is not the case at all. It's really, really wet. The time that I usually allow my mascara to dry in between coats, I've had to double because this does not dry down very quickly at all. That is good in a sense that this is not going to dry out your lashes. This is going to be really, really beautiful, but bad in the sense of, one, if you're in a rush and you want really voluminous lashes, and two, this is probably not going to be transfer resistant. So if you live in a hot, humid country, and I cannot say this for definite because I live in the UK, so I can't test that out, but I've got a feeling this will transfer. All in all, like I said earlier on, I will withhold judgment at least until day 5. I will leave a pinned comment to let you know how I've got on with this, how it wore throughout the day. I'm not blown away at this moment in time considering the price of this mascara, but I'm really hoping it's going to be good for my lashes, and on day 5 it's just going to bowl me over. I'm keeping all fingers, toes, eyes crossed. So I've just finished off this lip using my Lip Contour 2.0 in the shade Terracotta from Huda Beauty, filled in with the Collagen Lip Bath from Charlotte Tilbury in the shade Peachy Plum, which I think is the most beautiful shade. And she often gives these away. In fact, I don't think I paid for this one. I think it was a giveaway. So if you're a member of her rewards system on her website and you've placed orders and you've built up points, you can choose when you want to cash those points in and get a little freebie. And I think this was one of the freebies. So that's it for this video. I really hope you found it helpful. Let me know your thoughts on all other products in the comment section. Have you tried any of these before? Do you love them? Have you really not got on with them? Share your experiences with the rest of the pack, and I really hope to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.